If you haven't gotten into cryptocurrency yet, now's the time to be getting into it, or at least investigating into it, because it's pretty much here to stay and it's only gaining more and more popularity, wouldn't you say?
I would. I mean, it's clear from the news, if you haven't heard of cryptocurrency yet, I mean, well, you wouldn't be here.
Something interesting that I wanted to get my mind into is the idea of what cryptocurrency actually is and what's going on with it. In my mind, it's something that is as big as the internet. January 1st of 1983 is when the internet officially started and became a thing. Since then, it's grown to be a worldwide, universally accepted thing. Everyone uses the internet. And I found out some studies done back in 2018, so a few years back now, $2.2 trillion goes through the internet, so about 10%, a little bit more than that. It's gone up since then. Tons and tons of money all started through the internet about 38 years ago.
I mean, it's crazy. I remember before the internet, when it came around, I was alive back then. How much what we take for granted now, I mean, just like with Bitcoin, it's a new thing. We don't know where it's going to go for sure, but I think it's going to be something we take for granted in the future.
I think it's definitely going to be growing drastically in the next 10 years or so.
Yeah, I think it'll be like the internet where, first like, whoa, the same thing happened with the internet when it first started. People were like, oh, this is bad, it's whatever, it's a little plaything that some people are getting into, and here we are. We can't imagine life without the internet. I think in the future we won't be able to imagine life without Bitcoin. I mean, not Bitcoin again. Cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is one of
possibly Bitcoin, possibly not, but cryptocurrency is definitely here to stay.
Yeah.
It's like the internet. It facilitated the way in which you can transfer information across the entire world. You can instantly do it, and you can do it in real time to anyone, anywhere and everywhere. I feel like Bitcoin and Ethereum, all these cryptocurrencies, just cryptocurrency in general, is the method to be able to easily transfer a worldwide accepted currency. You don't have to transfer from dollars to the yen to pesos back to dollars. You can just transfer Bitcoin to someone else in the world who accepts Bitcoin. And obviously it's not fully accepted everywhere yet. Not everyone accepts cryptocurrency as a form of payment, but as we've seen, and there's tons of news articles on it as well, day after day, of more and more companies accepting cryptocurrency as a viable method of payment. So I found it interesting. I didn't know the whole facts on Bitcoin, so I did some research into it. Basically, it was introduced back in 2009, and it started trading at nothing. It was at $0, and then the very early adopters started to get into it, and it was trading for fractions of a penny. And after that, only after about a year, it got to the $1 level. So it took a decent amount of time for it to start to get a little bit of traction. And then obviously now we know it has, in this year of 2021, hit the $60,000 mark, a little bit more than that, and now it's dropped back down a little bit. It's at $47,000 now as of the time of this video. But it obviously has grown drastically over the period of just a few years. A few years, 9, 10 years. I consider that a few years. For the amount of growth that it's had.
And the value store of it, again, it's the value is in its use, in the utility that it provides. I mean, you're providing a way we recognize the value of being able to send and receive money instantly, and that's what this is enabling. Without the intermediary of the banks, it's just really limitless on what applications there can be for this technology. It's a new technology, is what it is, that it allows us to be able to cross borders and barriers and go into the global future that we're obviously heading for.
All the new technologies being developed around cryptocurrency. I don't fully grasp the whole concept myself. There's plenty of smart engineers and people creating these programs and platforms around cryptocurrencies. There's a video game that uses cryptocurrency now as a form of payment within the game, but you can also use it outside of the game. And
Axie Infinity.
Axie Infinity. And we talked about that in one of our other videos a little bit. And there's the Helium coins as well going on, where it's a network. It's not just a currency a cryptocurrency that you can exchange, but it's a network of these devices that allow you to connect the wireless protocols and stuff like that. Interesting stuff, how there's tons of technologies being developed right now. There's one I just looked into as well. It's like a new form of YouTube, the Theta platform. One of the people that's gotten into it and been talking about it is one of the co-founders of YouTube himself, Steve Chen. It just goes to show that there is a lot of potential behind cryptocurrency and changing so many different markets.
The other thing that's interesting about cryptocurrency is that it's more than just the money. It is, again, a technology for transporting information. Just like the internet is, this blockchain idea, the concept that has been laid out for cryptocurrency of how this happens, there's more things that, again, I can't quite wrap my mind around. There's just a lot of things happening with it, just like Matt we're talking about. It's a lot of unknowns.
Very fast-moving technology.
Yeah, it is
constantly changing.
If you weren't alive when the internet kind of came into being, which that was my.
Me.
I mean, kind of.
I was on the. It had already started. It wasn't huge,
yeah.
but yeah, that's when I was born.
Yeah,
that time.
So I mean, you were born in what year?
I'm 29, so it's
44.
1992. It started back in 1983.
And I remember when we were doing dial-up modems. You guys even know what that is? Remember that noise? Like that kind of sound.
That was amazing.
Yeah, isn't that awesome? I remember playing with my brother-in-law Doom over a dial-up modem. The only way to connect was to dial into each other, and they connect your computers over the phone lines. It's incredibly slow. 56K, I remember that was like not even
kilobytes.
Yes, kilobytes.
Nice.
That was max, like the rate on the modem. And anyway, yeah, it's crazy to see where we've come, like how far we've
play
come.
Doom on like a calculator.
Yeah, sure.
I've seen Doom is one of those games that for some reason people port it to everything and anything. I've seen from what I've seen.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I mean, just looking at the history of the internet. We never know what the future holds for sure, but history does inform us of the potential future. And so looking at the internet as an example, I think the potential future for cryptocurrency is huge. It really is a great comparison.
It's one of those changes in the whole system, like the internet was.
And if you could know back when it first started what the internet was going to become, I mean, there's so much you could do to prepare yourself to really take advantage of and leverage the power of the internet to get yourself in a position. I mean, YouTube, right? If we had started this 10 years ago, of course we couldn't talk about cryptocurrency back then. The earlier you adopt on
YouTube,
things,
Amazon, all the many different things, platforms that have made tons and tons of money, was all made possible because of the internet. And it wasn't per se those things on their own became great, but it was because of the internet. And so I think cryptocurrency is exactly, and I think cryptocurrency is going to enable tons of different ideas and technologies to grow and become huge.
So as I've looked into it, I'm very confident that cryptocurrency is here to stay. What it looks like in the future, I don't know. It may take on a lot of changes because of government. There's all sorts of unknowns, regulations and things like that.
I think that'll be the biggest hurdle, is regulations and stuff. I think it'll 100% stay around. It's just a question of how regulations will impact it and how it'll have to adapt because of those regulations. Complicated type of thing. It's not just, it's an online currency. It's complicated, all the different types of cryptocurrencies. Learn about them, what the platforms do and what the different currencies are backing, or what backs those cryptocurrencies, and all of that.
And be open for change. I mean, really, you got to embrace change with this. The people who embrace the change with the internet, they benefit it. You know, if we're like, ooh, I don't like the idea of cryptocurrency, I don't know if it's going to be here, you can't. You really have to be.
You want to get in now while you can, and it's growing, and it's become.
And adapt with it. I mean, for example, we looked into like how actually can you transfer money directly to someone else without using an exchange. We might do a video on that later,
we'll
but just
definitely be doing a video on that.
Very quickly, there is a way of you have different programs to create different wallets, and that's we're doing that. We're going to cut to the Farley.
We do that a lot. Wallets.
I don't get along with people.
But yeah, so they're called crypto wallets, and ways of transferring that money directly. There's just so much to learn about cryptocurrency. Happy to have you guys along for the ride while we learn. We share with you what we learn, and we'd love to hear what you learn about cryptocurrency.
We're definitely not 100% experts on things. We've learned a decent amount on different things. We talk about that on the channel, and as we learn and figure out kind of this new world of cryptocurrency, we like to discuss it on this channel. Mike's looked into a bit more than me, and I'm able to pick his brain. And he has a group that he's a part of that he learns a lot of stuff from. It's called The Plan or whatever. Interested in that, there's a link down below. But if not, no worries. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, obviously feel free to let us know down below, and we'll see you in the next one.
Até mais.
Até the mice.